Greetings, market researchers. This is Marc Dresner coming to you from the Market Research Event 2010 in San Diego, California. This is day one, actually the close of day one, November the 8th, and I have the distinct pleasure today of interviewing Jim Multari of PBS KIDS Sprout. Thanks for joining us, Jim.
Thank you, Mark.
I guess our first question would be, why the market research event? You came here to present today. What was it about this event that attracted you?
Yeah, well, it seemed to be the place to be to really connect with researchers, marketers, and to understand the space in a way that you can't really do behind your desk back in Philadelphia. And it's just been really interesting to see how many people are here. Connecting with a variety of different researchers, vendors, a lot of different people that have been great to meet, and it's just in the day that we've been here so far, it's been very worthwhile.
And because it's only been one day, this question is a little premature,
Sure.
but I'd like to know, what were some of the highlights for you besides your own presentation,
Sure.
obviously?
Besides my own, right. It was at 8 o'clock in the morning. Luckily it was raining, so people were a little distracted by that and were paying attention. But you know what, I think that the main takeaway for me was the importance of social media, both as a researcher and as a marketer. I was in a couple of the sessions this morning that were very social media focused in the social media track, and it was just interesting to really see how researchers are focused in on that platform and trying to find ways to make it work for their business.
And I imagine that that's obviously a hot topic back at your own offices as well.
Yeah, you bet it is. And we know that moms are really into social media in a big way.
Yep.
Social media is something that we focus on quite a bit, and finding ways to leverage that platform, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or what have you, finding ways to do that both from a marketing perspective, but more relevant for this conference, a research perspective, was really useful. Just kind of hear what other people are doing to make that work.
Was this your first market research event?
It was, yeah, it was.
And was there anything in advance that kind of tipped you off to the sort of experience you were going to have here?
Yeah, you know, sticking with social media, I think that this conference has done a really nice job of leveraging those platforms to promote the conference, to provide information on what was expected, speakers, different sessions, topics, tracks.
Right.
All of that information was really well done in terms of providing the real meat of the conference via those social media tools well ahead of time, so that once you got here, you kind of knew kind of what your focus was, and you didn't have to waste much time trying to figure out where you were going or what was interesting. You kind of knew coming in exactly where you were going, and I think just the use of social media made a big difference in that.
Outstanding, outstanding. Let's talk a little bit about your presentation, but
Sure.
First, can you tell us a little bit about KIDS Sprout? I know that you recently became a Nielsen rated company, or network, I should say.
Yeah, PBS KIDS Sprout is a 24-hour preschool kids television channel. We're a multi-platform offering, and we offer our brand not only on our digital cable and satellite channel, but also video on demand and sproutonline.com. And the brand is really geared to invite parents, moms especially, to participate in the experience. And so our programming strategy is one that follows the day of a preschooler. So whether it's a Wake Up with the Wiggles or a Sunny Side Up show in the morning, all the way through Wind Down with the Goodnight Show at night, it's really about following the day of a child, and we invite parents to participate in that. And so we do things like on our Sunny Side Up show, where kids and parents can submit content on the website that they then see on air. And it's all about this interactive, participatory brand that I think that really resonates with moms, and kids love it. And we have all of the content and shows that kids love, like Barney and Friends, Caillou, Sesame Street, The Wiggles, others that makes the whole experience worthwhile.
So tell us a little bit about your presentation from this morning.
Right.
You discussed a number of areas that I think would be of particular interest to the research community.
Right. So as an emerging network, as one that's only been around for 5 years or so, we're still relatively small in the kids space. We're just over 50 million total subscribers nationally. And as we've sort of started out, our biggest challenge was that we were not subscribers to the more traditional types of media metrics, the Nielsen people meters and those other types of things. There's a lot of things that go into subscribing to something like that. Cost is certainly one of them, but other things like sample stability, making sure that the data that you're getting is stable day to day. All of those types of things were things we were thinking about for quite a long time. In the meantime, we are an ad-supported network. All of our advertising is parent-targeted, and really what that means is if you watch Sprout, you'll see advertising for a variety of brands that are really targeted to a parent, not necessarily a child. We were tasked with justifying that investment to advertisers and to media agencies, and without those ratings and other traditional metrics, that's a challenge. And so what we sort of landed on was, well, let's tell our story in a couple ways. Without the metrics, the Nielsen metrics, we had a lot of tools, our custom research tools that we were able to use. Things like our Sprout Viewer Circle, which is our viewer panel, where we have 1,300 Sprout viewers who know our brand and get it, that we were able to tap into and ask them different things about what ads they've seen, how they acted on that, was there any sort of impact on purchase intent, all those types of things. That evolved into something that we've done on our website, sproutonline.com, where one of the things we learned early on was that about 90% of our site traffic has watched the channel that same day. And so what that does for you is it allows you to intercept people on our website, and by people I mean parents, moms especially. We knew that the site experience was driven by moms. You know, oftentimes it was a mom who was accessing the content, and the child would play a game or do something on site, and then it would be mom who would wrap that up. And so we would intercept mom very early on and ask her things like, what ads did you see on Sprout today? In a very unaided measure. And once we knew what brand she was talking about, we could say, did it impact your purchase intent? How likely are you to tell other people about those brands? Would you recommend them? And so when you go into an advertiser without ratings, oftentimes it's a closed door, but we were able to say, look, right, we don't have those Nielsen ratings, but here's what we are doing. We are able to demonstrate sort of the quality of engagement that our audience is having with your brand. And then on top of that, there is a lot of work being done right now with set-top box data, which is basically a lot of different providers are providing data that allows you to look at viewing trends in a lot of different ways. It isn't Nielsen, but it's an alternative source that allows you to talk about the size of an audience. And so when you really think about the quantity of an audience, the size, or those impressions, so to speak, in tandem with the quality of an audience, how engaged they are with a brand. That combination, when you go into an advertiser or to a brand or whatever it is, it's a powerful story, and it's one that allowed us to really be successful in terms of growing our brand, increasing our ad sales revenue.
The network itself is relatively nascent, but it's about 5 years old, if I'm
5 years old this past September. That's right.
5 years old without that currency, so you created it yourselves. Are you going to stick with it now that you have the Nielsen?
Well, it's interesting. This past week, we became official subscribers to the Nielsen People Meter data. We're thrilled to be partnering with Nielsen. They're just obviously a very reputable and long-standing research firm that's just great. It's a very nice next step for us. But at the same time, that the Nielsen data is another tool in our toolkit, and it's important for us to leverage that information and use it for the things that we need to be doing, going to advertisers and talking about, again, the size of the audience, total impressions, what kind of rating are we seeing for a particular day part or show, but we're still committed to doing all of those other things, whether it's talking about how engaged somebody is with a brand, or are they recalling it, or is it impacting their purchase intent. So we'll definitely stay committed to talking about the quantity and the quality of an audience as we move forward.
The currency and the metrics you've created, as you pointed out, do tell a compelling story without the Nielsen. Was it a difficult or a challenging sell to the advertisers? Was it a tough slog? Or
absolutely, incredibly tough. It tells a good story, but at the end of the day, it's still today in media, and media measurement, it's still really the Nielsen numbers that are what's used to get deals done and to move a business forward. That's the reality, and we know that, and it was part of our thought process leading up to it. It was incredibly tough to convince agencies and advertisers that there are other ways of thinking about this. We made a lot of progress. There are a lot of agencies out there who are doing great work in this field, who are thinking this way, who are very receptive. But at the same time, you know, that's how their business was being driven, and so it was a long haul, and we made great progress. But we're excited about what Nielsen helps us do in the long term.
Well, now that you've got them accustomed to it, do you think that they would allow you to take it away from them?
I don't know that we'd ever take it away from them. I think we've, you know, I think they're going to be really thrilled that we're rated now. That certainly allows us to do a whole lot more than we were able to do before. But with advertisers who have been working with us for a long time, I think they have grown accustomed to our ability to really tell our story in new and unique ways. And you know, look, we're now just, you know, we're another sort of number that they're considering when they're looking at their media mix. And it's, from our perspective, it's even more important now that we break out and continue to do these types of things, because when you're rated, you're just part of the overall pie. And now we just need to continue to push those things and help advertisers and agencies really recognize the power of these types of things in telling their story.
Well, along those lines, one last question, and that is, what's next? You've come a long way.
What's next? Well, we've got to figure this whole Nielsen thing out. There's a whole lot of work that goes into that. So I think the next couple months will really be spent getting our systems in place, becoming experts at the Nielsen game, and being able to use that data as effectively as possible. But I think we'll continue to look at what we're seeing with that Nielsen data and try to find ways to overlay some of that custom stuff to be able to say, look, you know, in the Nielsen data that we're seeing, we're able to tell you that there's an audience here, and this is how big it is. What we think we can add to that is, you know, whether it's through our panel, whether it's through the stuff we're doing on sproutonline.com, or through a variety of other means. Really, it's about how engaged they are with a brand, particularly a brand that's being advertised on our air. And so I think going forward, it's our intent to, you know, report what we need to be reporting, which is the ratings, the currency. But at the same time, try to differentiate ourselves by leveraging these tools to come out and say, look, there's an engaged audience here, and we've got the data to prove
that extra little bit of insight.
Exactly.
Very compelling.
You bet.
Very compelling. Well, thank you very much,
My pleasure.
Jim.
You bet.
And it was great
Thank you, Marc.
having you.